Hello and welcome to Straight Talk. I'm Ayşe Süberkaş. A strategic opening. That's how Turkey's Foreign Minister Mevlut Cavusoglu described the current opportunity for Ankara to engage Latin America. Cavusoglu made the remarks in Uruguay, where he inaugurated Turkey's embassy in the capital, Montevideo. The country was the first stop on his six-nation tour of the region. Second on that list was Turkey's largest trade partner in Latin America, Brazil. Cavusoglu visited the country's financial capital and commercial hub, Sao Paulo, where he opened Turkey's newest consulate general. Noting that their current $5 billion trade volume was far behind their potential, Cavusoglu said the two countries were working to increase that number. But on the diplomatic front, Turkey has seen rapid expansion, with the number of its diplomatic missions in Latin America increasing from 6 to 18 over the past 2 decades. So what could the strategic opening offer Turkey and Latin America, both on the political and economic front? And to answer that, joining me now from Ankara is Jose Duarte Ribeiro. He is a researcher at the Center for Latin America Studies at Ankara University. And from London, Javier Farje. He is a political analyst and journalist who extensively writes on Latin America. Gentlemen, welcome to Straight Talk. It's good to have you on the program. Jose, let me begin with you. How has Turkey's Latin America policies changed over the last 2 decades?
Well, normally in academia and in political terms, Latin American-Turkish relations are referred to as new or an intensification. But we would rather talk about a consolidation, because we have many decades of relations. And when we look at a recent past, we can identify 4 different periods, which I can briefly describe. So it starts with 98 with an action plan towards Latin America. Then in 2006, Turkish diplomacy considered it the year of Latin America and the Caribbean. Then we have a period from 2006 until the pandemic, in which we have the boost of relations, the real intensification, with the opening of embassies, passing from 6 in 2006 to the current number of 17, with the opening now in this visiting of the Turkish Foreign Ministry in Montevideo. So we have a consolidation, and this visit marks a consolidation rather than a new relations or intensification.
So Javier, what do you think is the main driving force behind Turkey's goals to have stronger ties with Latin America?
I think I can quote the foreign minister during the conference that took place in the Ankara University in late January, when he met all the ambassadors for Latin American ambassadors in Turkey. And he said, and I quote, "We are a nation that can speak to both the West and the East at the same time and have much in common with different geographies." That was Foreign Minister Mevlut Cavusoglu, and I do apologize if my pronunciation of the name is not the correct one.
It's okay.
And that encapsulates the side that Turkey has to establish a good relationship with Latin America. There are different dimensions. First of all, it's important the political dimension, which is breaking the hegemony of the U.S. in Latin America. And also, Turkey has established good relations with countries which have had some kind of hostile relations with the U.S. That's the political dimension. The economic dimension is that not only Turkey is benefiting with the import from Latin America of primary commodities, which will enable Turkey to develop more its economy, but also the contribution that Turkey has to the diversification of the Latin American economies. Not many countries in Latin America, apart from, say, Chile, for example, have a diverse economy. Many countries still depend very much on export of primary commodities like Venezuela, oil, Bolivia, oil and gas, etc., Ecuador.
Yes.
What Turkey is doing is contributing, benefiting from the import of primary commodities for the industrial output of Turkey, but at the same time, Turkey is contributing to the diversification of many of the economies in the region. I think that is a two-way benefits of this relation between Latin America and Turkey.
Yeah, we can say it's a win-win situation. But Jose, what specific sectors are Turkish businesses investing in the region? We know that there are energy, defense and satellite-related deals, but what else do they cover?
We were just seeing the images of the opening of the General Consulate in São Paulo. And São Paulo is a trade, financial, cultural center in Brazil. So this opening marks what I think is the key strategic reasoning for this tour in Latin America, which is to reboost trade relations in the region to match and even surpass the pre-pandemic levels. We have levels in which stabilized. We had bilateral trade on the order of $15 billion in 2021, but there is a purpose, there is a objective to duplicate these levels, and we saw this precisely on the speech of the Turkish foreign minister on the opening of the consulate in São Paulo, saying our bilateral trade with Brazil, our biggest trading partner, it's 5 million, but we are signing agreements to pass it to $10 billion,
yes.
Not just in the areas of services, but specifically also in tourism. That's why they also mentioned opening a direct flight connection with Rio de Janeiro to, as you were saying, in terms of win-win, not just receiving tourists from Brazil, but also to open up Brazil and Latin American region for the Turkish tourists.
So, Javier, what do you think are the prospects of doubling or tripling this number in the coming years? Is this doable?
Oh, yes, just very much so, because, as I said to you, the diversification of the economies in Latin America as a result of Turkish influence is going to improve the economic output, the industrial output of Latin America, which is going to benefit exports for Latin America, but also is going to enable Turkey to import more from the region as well. So that is I think is sustainable. You mentioned very clearly, Julio, the post-pandemic. We're talking about not only post-pandemic, but the current energy crisis that we're living under, yes, because of the situation, including the war in the Ukraine. So the establishing closer bonds, commercial bonds between Latin America and Turkey are important to try to overcome the very difficult years we have ahead of us because of the post-pandemic period and also the post-energy crisis period. So it's not convenient, but it's also a need for both the region, for Latin America and Turkey, to strengthen these relationships and to be able to improve. I think it's a crucial element we have to be mentioned here, and it's the year 2017. That year, 2016, President Erdogan visited Chile and gave a very important speech about the relation between Latin America and Turkey. And 2017, on the 29th of September 1917, Turkey joined the Economic Commission of Latin America as a full member. And that is crucial because that shows how Latin America sees the importance of Turkey in the economic sort of relation between both parts, in Latin America and Turkey.
So, Jose, what are the main obstacles before free trade deals can be reached with countries in the region? What are the main challenges?
I think the main challenge is to overcome that mental obstacle of distance. And I believe that Turkey has been trying to overpass this mental obstacle because it's not a physical obstacle anymore. Turkey has many direct flights and connections to several capitals in Latin America, but it's to create relations of trust, which means to develop cultural ties. And we have seen the strategy of improving cultural ties through the increment of what we know as soft power, with the increasing presence of TV series, increasing presence of Turkish cultural presence in Latin America. And from the side of Ankara University, I can say that, for example, we have over 40 agreements with universities in Latin America, and we have been seeing over the past decade that this center has as this since its foundation, that the integration and the welcoming, the openness that we have been receiving from Latin America every time we visit, it's changing over the years, and that is due to the improvement in cultural ties. So that is the first obstacle that needs to be overpassed, and I think the conditions are quite good for that.
So, Javier, what's your take on that? Many analysts have characterized Turkey's engagement as an alternative to the US and China, but do the citizens of Latin America see it this way as well?
Not yet. Not yet. To just complement what Jose said, there's a couple of things that could be improved. Like there's only two free trade agreements between Turkey and Latin American countries, Chile and Venezuela. They are negotiated with Mercosur and Central American countries. The signing of free trade agreements would improve a great deal these obstacles that we are talking about. And in relation to that, at the moment, China and Russia are big partners in Latin America. But the case of China, the main interest of China is import from raw materials for the industrial output and manufacturing output. That's the main interest that China has in Latin America. Russia, the same thing, at the same time has the political interest. The case of Turkey is more than that. And I'm not saying this because I'm talking to TRT well, but I would rather see Turkey having a better influence than Russia and China. Why? It's not only political, of course, there's a political dimension in any relation, but also in terms of the economy. Russia and China have not contributed to the diversification of the economies of Latin America.
Yes.
Turkey can. Russia and China haven't. Turkey can. That is a very, very important issue, especially in Venezuela, for example, where they have a very important office where the local office of the Turkish interest in Venezuela are trying to improve that, because Venezuela depends heavily on the exports of oil.
Yes.
So that particular issue could actually help a great deal. So at the moment, it is starting. It's not there yet, but the more Turkey has influence within the economic output of Latin America, the more people Latin America will see the benefits. Don't forget that between 2011 and 2018, 13 Latin American presidents have visited Turkey.
Yes.
That shows you how interest there is. And also the 2016 visit of President Erdogan to Ecuador and Peru was the first time ever that a Turkish president had visited these two countries. So there's more. Starting to see, governments are starting to see more of that. Now people need to start to see more of these benefits of the relation between Turkey and Latin America.
So Jose, we know, and Javier just mentioned, that strained ties between several Latin American countries and the US paved the way for China to step in. Could Turkiye's somewhat strained ties with several Western countries provide an opportunity to expand in the region?
Yeah, obviously, because Latin American countries and Jorge has just mentioned here the fact that Turkey is negotiating. That's one of the purpose of this trip, to negotiate free trade agreements and access to the Mercosur, that trade bloc, southern trade bloc in Latin America. And we can think that 3 of the countries that are part of this trip are members of Mercosur. I'm talking about Brazil, I'm talking about Uruguay, and I'm talking about, of course, of Venezuela. So access to that and trying to negotiate FTA with the Mercosur will diversify not only Turkish needed boost in terms of trade relations in the world, but also will provide trade partners which come out from those 2 major political blocks that were mentioned here. And in the context, the geopolitical context of uncertainty that we have here, because of the war in Ukraine, it's from both sides. It's needed to look for this diversification, and from the perspective of Latin America, having access to the Turkish markets means to have access to a privileged access to the European markets, but also to the Middle East and to the Asian markets, not reducing the dependency of, that was mentioned here as well, on the US, Russia, and China.
All right, gentlemen, unfortunately, we are out of time. Thank you very much for joining me on Straight Talk.